So last week was Mental Health Awareness Week, and I just thought I'd give my experience on lockdown. Welcome to your Millennial Unfiltered Mother podcast, aka your mum podcast. I'm your host, Christiana, and welcome back to another episode. So as mentioned, last week was Mental Health Awareness Week, and I didn't really say anything on social media, didn't post any personal stories or words of encouragement or anything. I didn't really acknowledge it online, if I'm being honest. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. I just didn't really feel like it, if I'm being honest. I saw some of the posts and stuff like that, and, some of them were great and helpful, and some of them were personal to some people, and that's beautiful. But for me, this time, I don't know. I kept this one quiet. And there was no particular reason, to be honest, no particular reason why. There was nothing in me. I had nothing to say, and that's just the honest truth. But with this episode, I'm just going to let you know how my mental health has been affected during lockdown. Some of the experiences that I've gone through that have affected sort of my mental health and how I've sort of gone through it. So I'll start off with, since lockdown started, I've been seeing a lot of quote unquote helpful posts on social media telling people how they could deal with lockdown, telling people how they can get through lockdown, telling people how to look after their mental health during lockdown. And these are helpful posts. These are helping someone out there, or a group of people out there. They are, and I really do believe that, and I want to believe that. For me, they're annoying, and I don't mean to be like a miserable cow about it, but I always tend to scroll right past it. I don't even read it. Do you know what I mean? Because I just kind of feel like you can't tell me how to deal with lockdown. Telling me to breathe and drink water and give myself positive affirmations. And I don't know. I genuinely haven't read any of the advice that they've put out there. But I just kind of feel like no one can tell me how I should deal with lockdown. Do you understand? I just kind of feel like this is something that has come out of nowhere and the entire world is going through it. And someone who has a history with mental illness, I just kind of feel like there isn't really anything anyone can tell me. If there's anything that I need, it's a sounding board, really. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. So I was sort of told maybe 6 or 7, 8 weeks after lockdown started, that's when NHS was starting to contact me and say, oh, because of your medical history, you may be high risk for COVID-19 if you was to get it. Do you know what I mean? So self-isolate, self-shield, and do all of that. And literally, they sent me this letter a good 6 weeks after lockdown started. So I'd already been isolating. Do you know what I mean? So it was almost like with that letter, it's kind of let's start again, shield for another 12 weeks. And I'm like, listen, don't come at me with all this because I've already been doing it. Do you know what I mean? And I just kind of feel like what I actually may have needed from the NHS was for the therapists and mental health doctors and all of that to contact, or even just my GP alone, to contact me and to check in, which none of them have done. Do you understand? And I kind of feel like that's that to me is kind of mad. That, I'm not going to lie, that to me is kind of mad. And I just kind of feel like, yes, I completely understand that the NHS are having to deal with a crisis. Do Do you know what I mean? We're all dealing with it. We all are. But it's not every doctor that's a surgeon. It's not every doctor that's, you know what I mean? There are different doctors in different sectors and they have patients. I'm one of them. Do you know what I mean? There's therapists who have patients. I'm one of them. And I ain't heard not a thing from any single one of them. So I just kind of feel like this is very interesting. You know, this could have really gone really badly for someone with my history. And I'm not going to get into it. If you want to listen to previous episodes and sort of figure it out, please be my guest. But you'll know what I'm talking about. And I just kind of feel like I've gone through such an emotional journey and a mental journey and stuff like that, even a physical one during this lockdown. And I kind of feel like, who have I had to really help me through it? No one. And that's not anyone's fault, but it's just what it is. Everybody's isolating in their own sort of bubble. The people I've seen consistently are people who can't really sort of help me. That's my son, who's 2 years old, and his dad, who only just sort of comes to pick him up and drops him off. So it's been you just kind of feel alone. You just kind of feel like, like who do I lean on? Am I being too needy to want to have, you know, these doctors to contact me at least and just let me know what's going on? Don't just send me some, and it wasn't even like it was like a letter, you know, that was from my GP or from like my doctors. It was just a broad NHS letter that they would have sent to so many people. And you just kind of feel like, okay, you know, I've been considered as high risk, so that they would have thought that because of what my GP has told them. But my GP should have hollered at me because my GP knows me and just been like, right, you know, and told me himself and just sort of made it that little bit more personal. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. And I just kind of feel like even just during this lockdown, I kind of feel like my phone hasn't really rang that much, like at all. The same maybe 3 people call me quite regularly, and you know, the same sort of 3-4 people message me somewhat regularly, and there are some people who I'm shocked I haven't heard from, and to be honest, I haven't contacted them either. So I can't really sit here vexed. I'm not vexed. Do you know what I mean? It's more just an observation, and you know, we're all at home. We're all sort of, a lot of people working from home, a lot of people not working from home. But it kind of feels like, okay, you're not on a lot of people's minds. It sounds quite dark and sad, but it's the truth. But I can also sit here and say I haven't called a lot of people either. I just kind of feel like, what's it going to do? I don't know. It's really an awkward one for me, because there are times where I'm sat at home and I just kind of feel like, you know, I'm struggling. Like, this is a lot, and I'm not in the mood for no random phone conversation. So that's kind of my excuse. But then sometimes, you know, sometimes I might get a surprise phone call once in a while, and it actually literally makes my day. It's the one thing, you know, during that day that actually sort of lifted me. So, yeah, it's just an observation that my phone does not ring as much. My messages don't pop off as much as they maybe once used to. And that's good. I feel like that those kind of things happen with age. You know, your circle gets smaller, and, you know, it is what it is. But like I said, it's just an observation. I'm not complaining. You know, I kind of thought like during this lockdown, I'd be busying myself with cooking and baking and doing all this stuff. And I know a lot of people have been doing that, but in the beginning, I was on keto. And I kind of thought, right, jump on keto, because the first 2 weeks I was just eating like anything. And you don't even know you're doing it until you're kind of like, hold on, I'm not using any energy. So I thought, let me go back on keto. But keto this time wasn't fun. It wasn't working for me, you know. And it's because I didn't really plan it. I didn't really put much energy into it, and because I was only shopping in the same 2 shops, Tesco Express and Sainsbury's Local, it was like I can barely get anything from here anyway. And because it's like the smaller stores, things are priced at too high. And it's like, nah, I'm just not doing it. I can't get any online orders in. And it's like, you know what? So I would end up cooking the same sort of 3 or 4 meals just on rotation. And it's just become really just dry. And it's like, I can't do this. I don't really have the energy to keep up with this kind of plan. It's not sustainable. I actually thought it once upon a time was, because it sustained me for long enough. But this time, in this kind of setting, I can't do it. It doesn't work. So then I'm just like, hey, just sort of don't snack a lot. Watch what you eat. But at the same time, I'm not exercising. I'm not one of them people who's doing squats in front of the TV, watching someone tell me how to exercise. I don't exercise at home. Home is not for exercise. Not for me. I do walk a bit. Do you know what I mean? I don't do like daily walks. I don't go, okay, let's go for a daily walk. Like, no. I don't make a song and dance out of walking. But, you know, every day I do need a bit of air. So I might go out, and it might not be for an hour. It could be just for 5-10 minutes, and then I'll go back in. But I've not really been exercising much. I thought I'd be recording podcast upon podcast, releasing 2 episodes a week. But no, I sort of record a podcast when I feel like it and put it out when I feel like it. And it's because that's just how I need to do it. I can't force episodes out. It's not like I don't have a list of content that I want to deliver. It's that motivation. It's that want to do it. And sometimes lockdown just literally is overwhelming with just just tiredness and just dragginess. I don't even know how to explain it, but sometimes it's like the motivation just isn't there, because you're literally dealing with something that you just didn't see coming. You don't know when it's going to end. You don't know what's going on. And it's like sometimes just that extra pep in my step is just not there. So yeah, you know, lockdown for me has been, it's been annoying, if I'm going to put it in a word, because things were going quite well at the top of the year, and I had such focus. You know, I even set myself a challenge to read a book a week. If there was a time to really, really complete that challenge, it was lockdown. Like, for real. Just getting so many audible books, and because obviously libraries aren't open. Like, if there was a time that I could easily bang that out, it was now. But I ain't read a thing during this look. I've not read a single book because I just can't. I just don't want to. So lockdown has not really been good for me in terms of productivity. And things are getting better, actually. Now that a lot of time has passed, I kind of feel like, yeah, this is it. This is the new normal now. I'm kind of gotten used to it. And, you know, now I'm actually starting to think about doing little things. So, but, you know, for the first 2 months, I weren't there. I really wasn't. So when we're talking about how lockdown has affected me, you know, it's affected just my motivation and my drive and my productivity. And I think that's what's been the hardest about it. And out of it being Mental Health Awareness Week last week, you know, again, I just didn't feel that drive and motivation to want to talk about anything, because, you know, I just kind of felt a bit, I don't want to say down, just unbothered. But I did kind of feel like it was important for me to sort of express that, because some people could be feeling the same thing, you know, that even though they have all this time and, you know, they could be working on this and doing that, sometimes it's not as easy as that. Sometimes, you know, you just have to get out of a funk, and it could take quite a while to get out of that funk. But so you're not the only one. I've been in a funk this whole time. And, you know, anyway, God will help us all. God will help us all. We're almost at the end. For some people, they're back at work, and lucky you, getting back out there. I know a lot of people who are sort of liking lockdown and not wanting to go back to work, are happy to sort of sit at home and earn without doing anything. And I get how that can be appealing as well. And for me, I want to go back to work. I need some kind of level of normalcy. But I'm not prepared to go back to work unless it's like actually safe to do so. So yeah, cool. I'll just stay in my little bubble and sort of ride this wave, I guess, with everybody else. Thanks, guys, for listening to me ramble on about how my mental health has been affected during this time. I hope everyone's keeping safe, man. Like, I know this is not a lockdown. I've been saying that from day. This ain't no lockdown, but just be mindful. Just look out for yourself. Look out for your family and friends. And yeah, we're gonna get through this, peeps. Thanks again for listening to another episode of your M.U.M podcast. I'll be back soonish. And yeah, take care. Bye.